Sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, so with that salutation, we will be able to go for any discussion items if you have.
Everyone, so I'll probably just go first.
Yeah.
So last week I was experiencing all kinds of raptures.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the week, the raptures stopped, and everything was normal, fine. And then I think it was a couple of nights ago. Oh, I think it was last night. I hit another level of raptures. It was like a higher level of sensations. It was when I was feeling it, I was like feeling excited, very excited to the point where like I just wanted to scream or something. These energies that were coming out was like very joyous and it like I was feeling ecstatic and stuff. Like compared to like the first raptures I was experiencing, this was like these were like 10 times more intense. And I did have a sleepless night last night, and then
You did have that?
I had a sleepless night.
Yeah.
So when the sleepless night happens, like I can feel my hands and my legs like kind of like a very intense sensation in them, like kind of like nervousness. Thoughts are racing, and when this happens, I already know that I'm not gonna get my sleep on like during that night. But like I've gone to a point where I don't worry too much about it because I have the knowing that like I'm eventually gonna catch up on that sleep anyway. But like the after effects aren't as like severe as it used to be because like a few weeks ago like I when I would like wake up I would straight up have a panic attack or like collapse to the floor or something. So those things aren't happening anymore. And today when I was practicing
No, I didn't hear.
Oh, so like I used to be scared of having those sleepless nights because like back then, like I wouldn't say back then, like literally like a month or so ago, when I would have the sleepless night, like I would like I was going to like a panic mode because like my thoughts are racing and like when I take a nap during the daytime and like I wake up, like I would straight up go into panic mode like and like have a panic attack or like collapse to the floor. But it was after then, like it was after those moments, like I started gasping for air, like started reaching for oxygen. Um, like imagine my body was breathing air and all that. Like and that really started helping me a lot. And today during the practice, a lot of gasping for air, and my stomach was getting wrenched. There was like this point like in the middle of my stomach. I don't know how to explain it. It's the negative energy. Um, Several times, like my stomach was like getting squeezed, so like it was getting wrenched, and it was like it felt like I was gonna vomit, but like well nothing was coming out, but like something was getting wrenched out, and every time it got wrenched, like I felt like I felt relieved. Um, this gasping went for a long time, and I don't know. Eventually, felt like I kind of came back to normal. It's hard to explain. Uh, like sometimes I was like stuck in these like cravings and like my mind wasn't really in the right place. But I'm starting to feel like things are finally starting to flow, and I'm like starting to come out of it. Um, but yeah, that's how much I can report right now.
Yeah. Now, you said another level of rapture. Can you explain? Rapture is a common term. Can you explain how you felt that?
Simply, I was just feeling very, very good. Like
What sort of sensation?
like feeling very comfortable. like getting comfortable in, and like very joyous.
Yeah.
Feeling things like, oh, like I don't care what happens, I'm happy right now, kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So why did you feel screaming?
No, screaming in happiness, like
Right.
getting
Right.
excited to the point where like I wanted to like be like, yeah, like, you know,
Right.
yelling happiness. Yeah.
So it's scream of joy.
Scream of joy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And when you had sleepless night, you said your hands and legs were having intense sensation.
Yeah.
Can you explain that sensation a bit more?
It's kind of like feeling nervous, feeling like you're about to be confronted with the unknown, something you're not ready for, something that makes you scared. You know, it's as simple things like it's as simple as a person not getting much sleep before work. They'll be
Yeah.
pretty scared, right? You know, and they'll start worrying, oh my God, like what if I don't
Right.
sleep the night before? I mean, the night after, and how am I going to face the week and all that? Yeah.
So are the thoughts were playing too much, or did you have some sensation of this nervousness and some unknown and scared, some sort of sensation?
Yeah,
But
it's a
did
sense
you
of,
have some thoughts as well?
yeah, the thoughts are there as well.
Yeah. And
It's
were the thoughts intense as well, or?
not as much as it used to. Like this, because over the last couple of years, this happened to me a lot. Like
Yeah.
I won't say it too frequently. So when it was happening in the earlier stage, like these thoughts are very intense. But
Yeah.
the more and more it happened, like I got used to these thoughts, and it's more like I'm less scared to like face these situations.
Right. Okay. How were you feeling in the following morning? Were you
Nothing
feeling
bad.
tired, or were you okay?
But I was fine. Yeah. I had all the energy I needed. Honestly, the day goes fine. It's mostly like the stress that happens in the back of my head.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
now it makes sense, because I don't know, even last night, I also did not have proper sleep. I think
Yeah.
I slept sometime very early morning. And when
Yeah.
I went to bed, it was about just 5 hours to wake up, but still I did not get sleep. Sleep was nowhere. So but I was quietly lying on the bed, and
I just have a question, so you answer. So you know how you've explained when you go deep into your mind, like you peel layers and layers of your mind, like it gets tougher. I'm just wondering, is this the time where it happens? Like when you start facing another obstacle in your practice?
that's again the question. Question is the defilement. Other than that, now the mind is trying to achieve an objective rather. But whereas what is happening after explaining a bit more about the words that you have mentioned, what is happening is natural. Because you said another level of rapture, and it was pretty much joyous rapture. And joyous means you are relaxing. You are having a holiday. You are very happy. So when you are relaxing, when you are happy, you don't require sleep, because you are not tired. So that is why when you go to bed, you don't feel sleep, because you are so much with positive energy experience. So probably for me also last night, that is what happened. I was preparing for a talk, and the content of that talk was so soothing, and it was very, very logical and very sequential flow arose when I was preparing it. So that was giving me tremendous pleasure, tremendous happiness. So that may be the reason why I did not have sleep. And the same situation here. You are very happy and you are very joyful and very relaxed. And for that reason, you don't get sleep. And you can have this rapture when your attention is completely moved away from the sensual world and the attention is completely with the body. Even when it is with the body, you are happily accepting the phenomena that is arising in the body. The joyous rapture arising in the body is a sensation. And that sensation gets very intense in the night, since the entire world is sleeping, entire world is relaxing, and you yourself mentally ready for relaxation, and the body is completely in the relaxed mode. So therefore, when you have this sleepless nights, you have very heightened awakening. So when you have very heightened awakening, the rapture becomes more and more intense. So when it is more and more intense, what happens is you are seeing the very minute detail of the physicality. You see atoms and particles and protons and neutrons, all sorts of tiny biochemical activities that are happening in our body. We are able to be in touch, right? So that is the intense sensation. And when you see that, almost what you feel is that you have some hypertension, you have some anxiety, you feel that something that is that you have never experienced is going to happen. Because these things are there all the time, but our mind is not relaxed enough. Our mind is not clear enough to see them. But here it's a nice scenario where you are able to see that. So when you see that, this is the freedom. You are going to get freed from the body, and you will be able to see these sensations, see these natural phenomena that are taking place, because you don't hold on to anything. You let your mind become sharper and sharper and sharper and dive into the body. So when it dives into the body, you, of course, trying to get freed from the body. So we have this fear of freedom, because fear of freedom, in order to go beyond the body, you will have to go through the body. When you go through the body, you see all these tiny particles that the body is made of. And that is a way out of the body. But at the same time, since we have not experienced, we become a bit scared. And you mentioned that this has happened in the past as well. And the mind was giving so much of thoughts, so much of suggestions. But those suggestions were not as intense as in the past. So therefore, this is a continuing process. So when there will have a point, you get used to it. And you said you are getting used to it. But still, you feel unknown is going to happen. You feel scared. So the next time, we don't know when it happened. Whenever it happens, be prepared for the unknown. Scared, just know that you are scared. That's all. So that that scaredness will not be able to overwhelm you. it does. I'm not saying that you are getting overwhelmed, but you are just noting it. But
Yeah.
it is better to keep in mind, because when you go to this level, being scared is a common phenomena. And if you are not prepared to face that fear, then you may get stagnated there a little bit. So therefore, go prepared for it. I'm not saying you are stagnated. You are gradually coming out of it. So this is a process, and it will take some, when you do it more and more, you will be, every time you face this, you are being little by little cleared of the body. You are going through the body. So, and you also mentioned that your stomach is getting wrenched and negative energy is happening, and squeezing off the tummy is happening. Why do you mention negative energy?
I didn't know what else to call it. It's like the energies that go inside my body.
Rather than, keep going.
Yeah, I don't know I didn't know what else to go. It felt like the roots, it felt like the tree branches going inside my body. And it gets to a point where like there's like the little branch inside like gets drenched. It gets drenched, sorry.
Yeah. So you felt like, a tree is growing in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not necessary to say negative energy, because when you say negative energy, you are giving an interpretation to it. The best is if you can explain exactly what happens. It is definitely sort of an energy. It is because of the situation you are facing. Your mind is trying to establish in the body, whereas your practice is so smooth. You don't you are not clinging, you are not holding onto the body. So therefore there is a tussle between the negativity in the mind and the purification process that is happening. So it's a usual thing, because when you keep on attacking the enemy gets cornered. So when the enemy gets cornered, it becomes crowded. That place becomes crowded. So when that place becomes crowded, you can easily see that this place is crowded. So that's exactly what is happening. You are cornering the mind into the body, and you are going to each and every particles of the body. So therefore, this energy has no place to hide. So it's trying to find a place to hide. So that is why you feel this wrenching and then squeezing and sort of energy is happening. So in fact, what is happening is you are going more deeper into the body and pulling out negative energies more and more. So it's again same process happening at a deeper layer. So therefore there is nothing to worry about what is happening. Just maintain your heightened awareness. Longer you maintain your heightened awareness, very unfamiliar, uncommon, abnormal occurrences may be experienced. So when you experience them, you will have to be happy that you are on the right path. Because if you experience anything that is normal, so that is the normal life. So when you experience something abnormal, which means you are going on a different direction, which is the path of the Buddha, right? So you may feel that something wrong is happening. So that is because your comparison is with the normal world, which we think right. Whereas this abnormality, what you are experiencing, is the right path, is the right way. So get used to it and be happy when those things are happening, that you are in the path. And you mentioned that gasping went for a long time.
Yeah.
So how did you feel after that? And were you able to observe it, allowing the body to do whatever it wants to do?
Yeah, I was able to the gasping, like especially today, like I was feeling good while doing it. So
Right.
it felt like it was happening for the good reason. So like like it felt like there was something good coming out of it. So I was able to just like keep with it.
Right.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And was it noisy?
Yeah, noisy, yeah.
Yeah. So next time, let it happen. Try and see whether you can observe it without noise.
Mhm. Okay.
Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Because this is again another energy layer that is getting activated, and that energy layer can be converted into physical vibration or a verbal vibration.
Yeah.
So sounding noise is a verbal vibration.
Yeah.
And physical and verbal vibration happens because our clarity of the observation has some space to be improved.
Mm.
So if our observation is more purified, more honest, more straightforward, then you can let the body to look for oxygen in its own way, and you completely become an outsider and keep observing. No noise, no physical activities. You tell the body, I'm not helping you. You find your own oxygen. And you just
Yeah.
become an outsider. I mean, it's easier for me to say. Of course, it is quite difficult to do. But when you know this, you will be able to be prepared, and one day you will be able to do it.
Yeah.
And do you have any thoughts coming, and what sort of thoughts are coming?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that I've always had this bad habit where like you know uh the what I mentioned about like the gut reading getting wrenched of the negative energy or like gasping and stuff. When
Yeah.
these things happen, I automatically start thinking, oh, it's these people's entanglements that are coming out. Like all these attachments are like um it makes it starts to remind me of like of friends that I used to have. And yeah, it starts reminding me of them. So when I start gasping or like the stomach getting wrenched, it makes me feel like I'm finally like letting go of those people kind of thing. So it's like a commentator that happens like inside my body, and I'm not sure, like I'm going with it. And the thing is, when it happens, it makes me believe that that's what's happening. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, I understand that you get the thoughts relating to attachments and entanglements with the friends.
Yeah.
And thereafter, what you were saying was not very clear.
Um, it and the thing is, I can't differentiate between the fact whether it's real or not.
Mhm.
So when it happens, sometimes I'm in my room and I feel like that detachment from family or like my brother or something. And
Mhm.
when that happens, like that happens in my body, and I start seeing it outside as well.
Mhm.
So my mind's creating this narrative about it. I can't really like observe, like make like proper observations about what's happening because I'm bought into this narrative that's happening while I'm meditating. This
Right.
happens a lot when I practice. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you are saying is, when the gasping is happening, you
Yeah.
get these thoughts of attachments and entanglements with the
Yeah.
friends, the family.
Yeah, what other friends think about me, what's happening between them. Like these are people I haven't seen for like years or something. Yeah.
So, are they disturbing? Are those thoughts disturbing you, or
No, it's not disturbing.
so they are just by the side?
Yeah, they're just happening. Yeah, they're just coming up.
Yeah. So, I mean, what it is trying to do is, there are two ways. One is, these are some of the defilements that you have, these attachments and entanglements and what you did in the past, things like that are happening to take your attention away from what is happening to the body.
Yeah.
What is happening to the body is the reality. The thoughts that are playing up are just perceptions, are just mind-made situations. Those are things that have happened in the past, or maybe things that you think would happen in the future.
Yeah.
So, therefore, the mind is trying to take you away from the physical actual experience to one of these areas, to the past or the future, imaginations or worries about the future, worries about the past. So if they are not disturbing, if they are not overwhelming, don't give much significance to them. Let them be there. Since you are aware, don't try to meddle with them too much. You just stay as third person as possible and let things happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
that'd be awesome, Maza. Therwan Sarnai.
Teruvan Saranai. Teruvan Saranai.
Also,
Who's next?
we have a friend, an old friend.
Okay.
Hello.
Throw some out.
But do you guys have a Teruvan Saranai? Do you guys have a power cut or something in Brisbane?
I don't know. What happened to the
No, I turned them down. Hold on, I'll put them on.
That's okay. Right.
saving
Tell
energy?
me. You are coming after 1 year. That's good.
No. I was traveling. I was overseas.
You're right. Right.
I don't know if I
How
have
can I help?
a specific question, but I mean there were a lot of disturbances, but I was able to be aware of it afterwards. So that was, I thought, yeah. One thing that I noticed was usually like throughout I would be adjusting myself because I would be feeling the pain of my leg, you know, when you kind of folded. But I managed to sit through it and sort of accept that pain. Yeah, that's my observation.
Right. So when you said you had disturbances, what sort of, is it disturbances to the practice from the day-to-day life, or disturbances while practicing?
Disturbance while practicing. I don't know. I keep seeing different images. I think it's trying to disturb me, but I kind of didn't give into it. I just became aware of it, and then
right. Okay. So do you get these images before you go through the pain or after?
I think before.
Before.
Yeah.
Right. There again, no, we are talking about these disturbances and pain. And so far as the breath is concerned, what is the situation when you start?
It takes me a while to quiet the mind, but I kind of set myself just to relax on my own, just to put the whole body to kind of relax the first 5-10 minutes.
And then?
And then I need to say, then I sort of make myself aware of my breathing, get disturbed by different things, but rather than going through it, I kind of become aware of it, and that subdues that feeling. Yeah, at the same time, when it's really going, I think when my awareness is at peak and I'm aware of that I am, that's when I start seeing these images.
Yeah, so when that happens, the breath, what has happened to the breath?
The minute that I see the breath disappears, I'm no longer focused on the breath.
So you keep on observing breath for some time and you are able to gradually see the disappearance of the breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when that happens, usually that is one way or another, one layer rather of going through the body. Disappearance of the breath means from the sensual world, you are coming to the form world, the physical world, and you keep observing the physicality. And when you keep observing the physicality, you go through the physicality as well. Go through the physicality as well in the sense our body is not just one solid unit, and it has or rather, let me put it this way, the breath is not one solid breath, and it is just air particles. So when your attention becomes sharper and sharper and sharper, you start seeing these particles, and that is why the breath becomes subtler. And seeing particles means there are a lot of gaps between the air particles, air bubbles. So when you see the gaps, you go from materiality to non-materiality. So creating perception, it is creating images of the materiality. So that is why you say you have disturbances from images. So that is a common thing that happens when the materiality disappears. Perceptions start playing up. So when those perceptions are playing up, those may be perceptions of the past, or those may be perceptions of the future, and they may be perceptions that you have never thought of, maybe images that you have never dreamt of, but they may start coming up. So which means you are gradually digging from the physicality to the mentality. So when those things are coming up, they are not disturbances. You said earlier when I asked about the breath, you get disturbed and you become aware of it. And even here, don't use the word disturbances. When the breath becomes subtler, these images are coming up. And it is better if you are able to mention what those images are and just become aware of them. Let any of the images come and you be prepared to be a spectator of those things. And then when you become a spectator, you don't identify yourself with them. But when you say disturbances, then you have identified yourself with them. So when you don't identify, when you are just a spectator, they lose their credentials, they lose their strength, and you will be able to go not only through the physicality, you will be able to go through even the non-materiality in one layer. And like that, it has to repeat in different layers, and then you will be able to go deeper. And that is why you are gradually getting into the pain in the leg. So when the leg pain happens, as you have done, you will have to gradually, very slowly, quietly take your mind to the epicenter of that pain, and ask the pain to show where the pain is. So in that manner, more you get close to the pain, more you move away from the pain. You will not again identify yourself with the pain. You don't consider that it as a pain. You consider that it is something that you can be patient with. So because of that non-reactional approach to the pain, your attitude towards the pain will gradually change. So it's going in the right direction. Just keep doing it.
You mentioned that I didn't mention the images, but this is something that I constantly see every day when I do some sort of a practice.
Right. So
Two images that I see, and it just really freaks me out.
yeah. So if that is coming constantly, you go prepared for it. Let it come. I'm ready to see it. So it is coming. If it is constantly coming, if the same thing is coming, so it is a negativity that is in the mind. So that is why when you go through the physicality in the non-matter, this defilement is there. In the perception layer, this defilement is there. So be prepared. Go with the mind, bring it on. I'm ready to see. Then it will lose its strength. So if you become scared, when you become more and more frightened, stronger it gets. But if you challenge it, bring it on, I'm ready, then gradually you will be able to face it. It is coming to tell you, check your strength, mental strength, if it is coming constantly. Teruvan Saranai. Anybody else?
Nothing from Brisbane.
Right. Sahan, do you have anything?
Yes, Dhruvan Saranai.
Teruvan
As
Saranai.
I am increasing the time and sessions, more darkest thoughts, imagination, views, critical self-thoughts appearing more than ever, like the mind getting creative, very creative in creating this dark imagination thought situations. So yeah, more than ever, as I am increasing and going like deeper and have more time to do meditation. And my second question is, what's the connection between meditation and authenticity, and how can observing can eliminate hypocrisy?
Connection between what? Connection between meditation and
Authenticity.
Sahan, I didn't hear you. Connection between meditation.
Authenticity. Can you hear me now?
We could hear you. Bante, Sahan was saying authenticity. I think Bante has a poor connection. He might not hear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I was saying the connection between meditation and authenticity.
Authenticity,
Yes.
right? What do you mean by authenticity?
Being authentic.
Are you asking whether the meditation we are doing is authentic?
No, how can it brings you more to your authentic self?
Okay. To true self.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The first one, you said when you increase sessions, you get more thoughts, more images, mind gets more and more creative. So that is because you are practicing more. You are observing your physical process more. So you spend more time without reacting to your physical process. So when you don't react to your physical process, you go through the physical process. If you react to your physical process, you will be only on the physical layer, right? So when you go through the physical process, what happens is your mind starts, it is already started. You start seeing the mind. So that is why you see more thoughts. That is because you are now digging more into non-matter. You are going through the matter. And so in the mind, you have these thoughts, continuous conceptualization, continuous proliferations are going on. So you start seeing that. And this has been happening ever since we have lived in the universe. But now only we see it. That is because we have what you call gone beyond the gross layer, gone beyond the rough layer. Now we are going into the subtle layer, the layer that is not tangible. So when you see them, you will have to do the same thing. Let the mind create any thoughts. You simply be observant of them. And even if you don't observe, don't worry about them. Sometimes they are so fast. And if you try to be observant of each and every thought, you may get tired. So therefore, it is not necessary to be observant of each and everything. You simply try to be mindful that things are happening in this manner. And it's one way it is thoughts because the mind suggestions are at work, images because more and more perceptions. It is again another aspect of the mind are coming up. And mind gets more creative. It's very fascinating. This is what happens to a lot of meditators. When the mind becomes more and more purified, you naturally get a lot of wonderful ideas. And that is because you go into the volitional layer. So in this very fine, refined mental state, you get unspoiled ideas, very new ideas, very creative ideas. So therefore, a lot of people meditate to get those creative ideas. Buddha knows that these creative ideas are coming. So he says they are coming to ensure that you will be hooked onto them, to establish the process of the mental activities. So instead, what you will have to do is when these creative ideas are coming, let them come. You simply observe. If you don't observe, you will make an equation and you will create a new engine. You will create a new bulb. You will create a new app. You will create a new business venture. And or you will write a new book. Because so much of clarity of the mind will come, and they will be so novel and so innovative ideas. And all these are coming for the mind to get established. So these are signs that you are going into the mind, and the mind is gradually getting weaker, right? So to keep it weaker, only thing you will have to do is you will have to simply observe. And that observance only has given this. And when you observe these things, their strength also will go down. So it's going in the right direction. And just keep it up. And the second question you are asking is connection between meditation and authenticity, or in other words, if I may rephrase the question, what you are asking is how the meditation will bring the true self. Is that right?
And yes, and how can this eliminate hypocrisy that we have?
Yeah. First one, how the meditation will bring you to the true self. The first question is, when you keep on observing this, we initially thought we will be able to have self with the body. And then we kept observing the body, and the body disappears. The breath disappears. And then sometimes the feelings layer comes. And the feelings layer disappears. And these thoughts, images, mind, creative, and a lot of other things comes up. And then you may have rapture, joy, and all sorts of things will come up. And when you get those things, what you do is you simply observe. When you simply observe, they don't become you, you don't become them. So therefore, the meditation will not bring you to a self. There is nothing called true self. What meditation will show you is that there is no self. But our mind is trying to create a self, saying that there is true self. So the Buddha's teaching, what he says is, if you observe anything, you will go out of the clinging, you will go out of the craving, you will go out of the hatred. When you go out of the clinging, hatred, and craving, there is no self. Self is there only if there is craving, only if there is clinging, only if there is hatred. And this mind, your mind is getting more and more cleared with these thoughts, images, and creativity. And it is formulating a creative question, self. But actual practice, there is no self. Does it make sense?
Yes.
And the other one is about hypocrisy. Let me first see its real meaning. Relating to hypocrisy. Relating to the set of ethical commitments traditionally made by those entering the practice of medicine. I generally vaguely have the meaning. Can someone tell me? I don't get it here. Chadu.
I can explain maybe a little bit.
Yeah, good.
Like you think something and your action is different. You pretend to believe in something,
So it's
but
like
in real life, but in real life you do something else.
Yeah.
So it's like in day you're acting in a way, pretending in a way in society, but at night when you are alone, now this is different. You know?
Yeah, so you are seeing that in yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that is what you call the purification. So all this time we have been acting and we have been trying to show that we are so cultured, so mannered, so good, so civilized people. And that is what all of us do. But when we really bring our attention to ourselves without any agenda, we start seeing how much of craving we have, how much of hatred we have, how much of feelings toward women, feelings towards killing people, feelings toward hurting people, feelings towards hurting animals, killing animals are there within us. So when we actually work physically and verbally, we are trying to pretend that we are perfect, purified beings. But inside, we see that there is a complete beast. So that is called the purification process. When your physical and verbal activities are purified, when you don't do unacceptable things in the society, then your mind opens up to show you what is there inside the mind. This has been there all the time in the past as well, but you were not able to see because you were doing those things physically and verbally. Not the very same things that you see in the mind, but to some extent. But when you become to some extent restrained physically and verbally, you start seeing how the mind works or what is inside the mind. And seeing that is an evidence, is a proof that you are going into the mind. Seeing that is a proof that you have passed the purification of the physical process, purification of the verbal process. And that, in other words, it proves that you are a virtuous being. The first stage to become, go to the concentrated layer, you will have to be a virtuous person. So, seeing that you have these things in the mind is that confirmation that now you are able to go through this mental hypocrisy that you see. So therefore, you are not trying to get rid of them. What Buddha says is, when you meditate, when it progresses, these things will come up. You will start seeing your own defilements. When you see your own defilements, if you try to get rid of them, then you are hating them. Therefore, Buddha says, those things will come up. Those things will come up only for those who practice mindfulness and not those who practice just meditation. So coming those things up means you are doing the real Vipassana meditation. So when they come up, Blessed One says, have a smile and simply observe them. So when you observe them, you are not hating them. You are not trying to chase them away. And on the other hand, you don't like them as well. You simply let them come out and observe. And when they come out, since you observe, they don't get established, they just evaporate. So like that, anything that is underneath in our mental process gradually will start coming up one by one, one by one, one by one, just to see whether you get hooked onto them. If you don't get hooked onto them by way of liking or disliking, they will just come out and vanish. So that way, you may feel, since you don't react to them, they will keep coming. Your attitude towards them will change, not to identify yourself with them. So when you don't identify yourself with them, they may be there, but they have no strength. It is like seedless grapes. The grape is there. You can eat the grape, but you can't make another grape out of that grape. It's like our eggs nowadays. When we were kids, we had eggs. And when we have eggs, we get eggs from, from our own farm. And those eggs have the potential they are fertile, and you can have another chick from that. But the eggs nowadays we have, you can't have chicks from them because that has been taken away. In the same way, when you keep observing, the fertility of these defilements will vanish. So when the fertility of the defilement will vanish, they are there, but they are not inflicting you. So therefore, there is no eradication as such, eradication of the hypocrisy as such. Seeing the hypocrisy in itself is the way forward. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai.
Right. Kusal, do you want to say anything or can we wind up?
Nothing much today, Bante. Thank you. Therwan
Can't
Saranai.
hear.
Nothing much today, Bante.
Right.
Thank you. Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai. Okay, so we can then conclude the session. To conclude the session, let me open it up. We can chant the traditional stanzas and pass the merit. Who did it last time, please?
I can do it.
Yeah, who did last time?
I don't know. I wasn't.
That's why.
I'll
Yeah,
do it.
anyway, yeah, okay.
May all devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well, the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. Everyone Saranai Bhante. Everyone Saranai Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Therwan Saranai, everybody, Saranai, Therwan Saranai. And before I forget, our May retreat has been published. So if anyone is interested, you're welcome to join. And you can tell your friends as well. And the place, it is getting booked very fast. Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai. Therwan Saranai.